set down here. Hello everybody, my name is Infiniti, and if you guys don't know, I'm the face, the voice, and the hands behind all the content here on this channel. Very rarely do I actually get to make content in the pottery studio that is at my school. But today I figured that I would head in because this is, like I said earlier in the week, crunch time, and this is like, I think Monday is the last day that stuff can be wet and we have to dry stuff out and whatnot so I can get fired and we can get to glazing more stuff, which I've already glazed a lot of pieces. But anyway, today I just wanted to, I guess, kind of spontaneously jump on here. I was recording stuff so I can make shorts later. And I was like, this is burning up a lot of storage space, so why not just, give them a glimpse of what it looks like while I'm making stuff. So if you don't know, if you haven't been here for long, yes, I'm a crochet and knit channel. I'm an independent knitwear and crochet designer, but I also am a classically trained artist, and I make all of my craft room pottery that is featured on my website. So if you've ever heard me mention that in a video that you've seen, that would be it. So mostly today I'll be throwing things, like I said, working on the yarn bowls, because when I ran that poll about, I want to say 9 days ago, overwhelmingly y'all wanted to see yarn bowls. So right here I have one set up, and I don't have a ruler on me at the moment, but let me see. I have one set up here, so it's about this wide. So it's about a pretty standard, maybe 6-7 inch yarn bowl going across as well as going up. Again, this isn't my normal setup, so 1, sorry for the audio if it's weird. 2, sorry for the angle if it's weird. And 3, I am recording this or going live on my phone, so I can't really read any commentary, but I would love it so much if you did comment, and maybe I can dip in later and respond to commentary later. Or I forget how YouTube Live works, but I think if you had like some big comment, you'd probably have to wait till this live stream is over in order to drop an actual comment that I can respond to. Otherwise, they don't let me respond to stuff in the live feed, which makes me feel bad. But yeah, so I'm going to be covered in mud today, which is not typical for me on this channel doing anything. So anyhow, I got my measurement set for the size yarn bowl that I want to use for this other mound of clay. Right now I am using some speckled stoneware. So back in probably early mid-March, I got like this fever dream email at 5:30 in the morning or something like that, and it was for this limited release speckled clay. And so a little bit of nerdy science stuff going on into the clay thing. Some minerals that they mine have become limited on and off, and this just happens throughout time because of, well, either work shortfalls or whatever. But this particular clay that I got from Seattle Pottery Supply, I know, right? It has manganese in it, and they're not really mining that a whole bunch right now. And so right now stuff that contains manganese is really hard to get your hands on, and usually when you can get your hands on it, it's not priced great. So I lucked up on a couple of bags, which was like 50 pounds. I think I might have talked about it, or I started writing a blog article about it. But I wanted to make a couple of bowls out of the remainder of what I had. I made a bunch of mugs with this clay and brought them in the studio. They're currently in the kiln that I loaded, I want to say Thursday. So I have to wait till Monday to open that up and see what everything looks like. But yeah, so I think mostly today I'll be doing bowls and at least getting them set up. So when Monday comes around, all I really need to do is start carving holes and things like that. And that'll be great. I'm gonna go over to my shelf and actually bring you guys one of the bowls that I made up so you can see how I do my yarn guides. So that'll be fun. Also, welcome if anybody's joined in. Oh my gosh, I just realized I kind of goofed up, which is partially why I don't do live streams, because I get so nervous and I goof. But you know, it's just one of those things. So I'm gonna bring this guy back because I need to do some stuff to it before I go and put it under the fan to dry. But let's see, come here. This one got to actually a leather hard stage, and I started doing my cuts into this like half eye shape, because the more I started doing those spirals, the more I hated them. And I'm like, life does not need to be this complicated. So my yarn guides work the same, just a different shape. But then I always put a bunch of holes in there, because some people like to use these holes for yarn guides, but also sometimes we stick our knitting needles in there so they'll stay and don't slide out onto the floor and whatnot. So this is a pretty big bowl that I've got here. I'll hold it next to my head for comparison. And I have been kind of playing around. I've had a stamp for over a year for my pottery, and here you can see this one's pretty leather hard, so it didn't take. But you can use like talc powder or cornstarch to get stuff to not stick to stuff. So I was able to use some cornstarch and get my stamp into this other one that I have over here. This one's more wet. So once it dries up a little bit, I don't know if you can see my little logo in there. Once it dries up a little bit more, I can go in and refine some stuff and get it good to go for the kiln room. But yeah, so just putting them on wood board so they can dry out. Now, get my calipers here. For this bowl, oh, that's why I didn't show you. Also, the bottoms of my bowls this go round are textured. So each one is different. Sometimes I feel like letting the wheel go while it's wiring off with a wiggle wire, and then sometimes I just do a straight pattern like I did with that one. I'm learning quickly that I probably want to save my wiring process off in the end. With these, I like to throw them particularly thin so I don't have to do a lot of trimming afterwards. And so that's been kind of working out this semester for me. But here, I forgot to go in with my footing tool and just really get some of that excess out. I have pretty even, probably see it better on this side. I have pretty even walls going down, and then most of my support is right here. Most of my weight is at the bottom, which some of it I don't mind because I am making yarn bowls. I want the weight to be at the bottom, so like if you jerk your bowl or something, it doesn't just go flying off into the void. But I want to eliminate some of that. It just makes it feel better as a piece. So let's actually try to scoot the phone over just a little bit so y'all can see my wheel better. There we go. All right, so, and I usually like to leave my tools in water while I'm working with them because it just causes them to not drag in with the clay as much. I'm gonna get it going just. And I usually save this kind of stuff for last because the thinner you make the bottom while it's spinning, you can kind of implement a wobble in there. So you really want to make sure that all of your throwing is done before you start refining this outside, at least in my experience, which has only been like 4 years or so. So, you know, might not be the best as far as wheel throwing goes, but I don't really have much moisture going on the inside of this one, so I don't want to push it too much. I also have these little profile pottery rigs. It's like over the years I've been collecting stuff so I can make things at home, which I have done because that's where most of my mug inventory has come from so far. But yeah, I just wanted to, that is a horrible sound and I apologize. If I wanted to, I could just kind of push the bottom of this bowl out. So you can see where I'm saying that like creates that slight wobble. But I like that shape a lot better, and then I can just kind of adjust this top here if I want to and bring it back in. So if you've been around for a little while, you can let me know in the chat what you like visually about my yarn bowls, because I'm always looking for ways to improve what I'm doing, whether it seems like it or not, according to some emails that I have gotten as of late, you know. Apparently I suck at what I do, but, you know, I choose to not look at that too hard. Well, maybe that sounds bad. I take the constructive criticism in kind, and I keep progressing as I can. I'm just taking the rib and kind of compressing the inside shape of this very lightly, mostly letting the wheel turn the piece and rub it against the rib because I don't want to distort anything. But this is about it for this, actually. It's a little shape going on in here. And a lot of times I do record while I'm doing pottery, just so I can go back later and see, like, if I feel like a piece is heavy, I can go back and see, like, oh, I left the weight, like, right in there, like, probably right here, but I think that's just the angle of where I drew that rib in, so it kind of pays to go over these pieces a few times. I don't know how long I'll be here in the studio today or how long I'll keep this live stream going. But yeah. I also apologize if I start humming or singing or whatever. My voice has been going in and out. To be honest, I've just been going through it lately. And yesterday I made a channel chat and I was just kind of ranting at my camera. And I was like, huh, do I really want to upload that? I don't know. But I felt a lot better after ranting about it, which I think has been the general theme of some of my recordings here lately, unintentionally so. I don't like to be a ranty person, I really don't. But, you know, like I said, going through a lot of stuff personally, which I might talk about later in a blog post, so it's like not directly on my channel, but sometimes just being able to do my thing is the best, not medicine, but you know what I mean. So yeah, so this guy is actually done. I already compressed the rim of it before I hit the go live button. So this can go under the fan for a little while. I don't want to leave it under there for too long, so it doesn't dry too fast. Most of my carving and hole punching and stuff I want to do probably Monday, to be honest. But yeah, so there's this one all done. It's stuck to the back, and it's ready to become a cute little yarn bowl. So these, even though they're made with special clay, I didn't want to make them big because of that. I do still have another bag at home, but I didn't want to dig into that quite yet. I don't know what I'm going to make over the summer, if anything, so I want to leave that open for myself because the clay is not currently being sold. So, fun time. And I'm also going to move these other bowls that I finished in. Hello, hello. I wish I could see who exactly was joining in, but it probably wouldn't make much sense for the mobile version. But this is one of the yarn bowls that I made. It has guides on 4 sides, but it doesn't have my typical like eye thing, but it does have a textured bottom. This one's still pretty tacky, so I'm gonna wipe it off and go through it later. This one, this is how I typically do my big yarn guides instead of the spiral, because the spiral irritates me when carving it out, but this one has 2 bigger holes and 2 medium-sized holes. About a year ago now, I did a huge batch of yarn bowls, and most of them can be found on my website, but I carved a lot of those spiral things enough to know that I hate them, and I also put enough small holes on them to know that I also hate those, because glaze gets in there and then it melts and then it becomes solid, and then it's a diamond bit that I have to use. All right, so just want to get one of these on. Now this is going to be embarrassing if this doesn't go on the first try, because I swear when I'm not recording or doing videos for things, I do things pretty darn perfectly, but then when I start to demo or talk about it on camera, worked out, then sometimes it just does not go right. But anyway, just gonna throw. I might actually shut up so you guys can hear me throw. I always like to have a little jam session going on when I make stuff. It's getting stuck to the bag. There's a really bad twist in the middle of this one. It's not unworkable, but so 9 times out of 10 when I glaze these two, I'm going to leave the bottom kind of exposed because it is supposed to speckle. I'm trying to figure out color schemes. There we go. And really by bringing it up, you're just trying to get a lot of that twist out of there, but you can actually put the twist back in there when you pull it up tall. So, and usually you do that with like a larger amount of clay, or if you plan on building up the walls kind of high on the side of a piece. So for yarn bowls, obviously you want those higher walls so that your yarn doesn't go flying out of the bowl when you're pulling on it. So again, that might be a little conditional, it just depends. Now I'm just trying to get it as low as possible, because this will help me to get the bottom to be a decent thickness. Like, I don't want to say thin, because when you think of thin bottom, you think it's gonna like bust through the bottom or break, which is entirely valid. Just the proper thickness. I also did not, my nails are starting to grow back out, which is exciting if I was still recording tutorials. This has been the perfect time to do so, but I think I have a few more in queue that I'm gonna do, and then after that, I'm probably gonna dip out early, not gonna lie. now I'm just kind of pushing in on the inside and thinning out the walls at the bottom. And I'm combing up almost like I'm making like a cylinder base, but in doing that, I am quote unquote training the clay, as some potters would put it, to do what I want it to later. But the bottom of this is going to be rounded out in your typical bowl shape. Get some of this water out of here so I can see. That's pretty good for that. There's a huge wobble in this for no reason. Oh no. Now I could dry this out and re-wedge it if I wanted to. Which I might end up doing because that is just ridiculous. I do want to see something. Where is my needle tool? Trying to figure out where that spiral came from. But I think I feel it. I feel it right there. There's actually no fixing this, but I do kind of want to feel that out. Interesting. Oh well, you win some and you lose some, so what's going to happen with that one is just going to get ripped up and recycled. At least now I get to play around with my porcelain. Is that a common? I don't know, I can't see. If I were thinking with the proper foresight earlier, I would have brought my tablet and done a live stream from that, but you know. So, it's actually a pretty decent bowl. You can kind of see. But, oh well. So I'm going to lay this out on the table and just let it dry out, and we're going to see if I can salvage that by the end of the day or not. I said I want to salvage this a little bit. But I hope everybody's having a good day. Hello. If anybody else has joined in. If you're new here, my name is Infiniti. Yes, that is actually my name. And I run this channel. And usually I do knit and crochet, but today I am making a mess and having fun with it. So, here we go. if you're just hopping in, I decided to kind of work off of the polls that I ran. Oh my god, that's my keys. Anyway, I decided to run off of some of those polls that I did about a week ago. And when I asked what I should make during crunch time, y'all mostly said yarn bowls, so we're gonna take another swing at this. The majority of the ones I made last time are, again, featured on my website. You can kind of look through that. The filter menu will say ceramic yarn bowls on it, but this new line of bowls, I actually like making the guides a lot better. So I'm just gonna roll with that. I wedged up some porcelain on Thursday, and I want to re-wedge it real quick because usually when it sits for a while, it gets kind of funky. And I want to avoid putting more wobbles like I just did in my work. So we're gonna wedge. Actually trying to figure out how I want to do this. This is not my normal setup, so figuring out how I want to bring this phone around the studio. It's kind of funny. Yeah, but usually you can use just a bunch of warm water and it'll basically dissolve off. And we actually have this spray nozzle in the glaze room that I use to clean off my hands and whatnot. It's like a power washer, but it's gentle, so I'm all good. Hi, Lindsay. Yeah, that's what it was about. Because I was like, like I said, it's crunch time, and I want to make stuff but I don't know exactly what I want to make. And then because I've been going through so much these last few months, my inspiration has been like in the crapper. So that's why I was like, well, you know what? My community usually has good ideas, so let me reach out. And y'all said yarn bowl, so hey, it's pretty cool. Even though I did kind of go on a vase spree, but it's not my normal kind. They don't store a lot, but they're more so for flowers, maybe. I just want to get these re-wedged. They're actually not as dry as I expected them to be, but I think last week the porcelain batch was pretty fresh. So there's a lot of moisture in this, which will make it easier to grow, to be honest. At least easier than that last bowl. My house, it was very squishy, but my driver's heat was blasting because here in the Midwest, it's been like half summer, half early spring, so temperature management has been a nightmare. Anyway, I think it dried out my clay just a little bit, but it's fine. Love the sound of this table. There shouldn't be workable and push out any air pockets that you may form, but to be honest, I've never encountered that. So, kind of going for it, but I didn't want the struggle that I just had just now. So Thursday I wedged up about 14 pounds of clay. My upper limit for throwing stuff is probably 6 pounds at a time. So, and that's on a good day. So I try to keep at least my bowls between 4 and 5 pounds so that I can manage them better. And it's probably a very newbie stat, but I hurt my my shoulder somehow earlier in the month, and it's like on and off irritating me, so I don't want to do a lot, but I still want to make stuff, so. This is pretty small. I made this round base, it's like half and half, and I think I might have want this piece for the neck of it, so I'll probably do that after I do my bowls, and then dig out more clay, maybe make some more bowls. I don't know. We'll see where the day takes me and how long I do this stream. It's very sticky. But I've been trying to figure out how I want to do pottery stuff at home. I know I've gotten some requests over the last couple of years asking if I do tutorial content for this specifically. And to be honest, I just don't have the setup for this kind of thing at home. I do have a wheel, little teak wheel, that I throw on and make stuff, but I don't have the lighting per se. And it could be the slight perfectionist in me, but I don't think you guys would very much enjoy watching me throw stuff in a dingy basement. And I already did that yet. It's 2 pounds. So it's probably going to be the neck for that base. Yeah, okay. And I don't really want this one to sit out too long, but this is the vase. I actually had to restart it. The first one I made, it got so hot in this building all of a sudden, out of nowhere, and it dried it out, but it was about yay high, and it had a bottleneck on it. I love the echo you can hear when I talk next to it. But I just ended up trashing that one, and I wanted to redo it. So that's where that one's going. Could probably go get my plastic to recover it. There we go. Do they ever hurt? No, actually. Most of my self-inflicted pottery injuries have come from me maybe not using the proper posture. Earlier in the year, when I was doing pottery at home, I managed to jam up my right shoulder, and it took a couple months for that to work itself out. But then earlier this month, I ended up sleeping wrong and jamming up my left shoulder, but throwing certainly does not help that. But my hands never. They get a little dry, even though I run through lotion and like oil and stuff, but never hurting. Okay. So yeah. This is such a tiny font to see from a distance. Anyway, so now I'm going to start throwing with porcelain, which it should be okay to throw with. To be honest, there are impurities in this porcelain because of the nature of a class studio, but the clay that I was just throwing with was also white clay, so it should be fine. Should be fine. Okay. We are going to make a bowl with this particular one. Like, I have to tense a lot less with this porcelain. It's also a lot easier to center because it is so buttery. The thing is, there's no grog in it, so it doesn't drag as badly. And it also doesn't dry out as quickly, which makes it easier to push in and compress. So. But some people don't like it because it is so buttery. I don't know. So we do have a red-brown stoneware that we typically use when we don't have white clay bodies. So some things I'm planning on doing today in that red-brown stoneware. I don't know if I'll be doing them on camera or not, but we're doing kind of a last soda firing in May, and I want to put a couple of soda fired yarn bowls in there, because I don't know, it just kind of depends on what my audience wants, but I might try to enter those into an art show, as opposed to putting them on the website for a little while. I don't know, because soda firings are so special, and we built that kiln from the ground up in the fall of 23. It's actually really fun. It was cold as heck outside, and a bunch of local potters and stuff came together along with a few of us students, and we just kind of laid the bricks for it, and we just got the roof on it in the spring, and it was very exciting. It was a wonderful experience. And then we learned last fall that the department was closing down. And then we learned this spring that the whole school is closing down. So, that's like, oh, that was poor timing. I don't know on whose part, but it was poor timing. There we go. And that's centered. Where's my towel? I always lose my towel. Hold on. What other crafts do I do? Okay, so that is a loaded question. So I'm a painter by trade, by default. I also draw, which is why I'm in art school. But aside from that, I spin my own yarn, just hand spinning. I found that I actually kind of suck at using a actual spinning wheel to make yarn, which is kind of funny, but I knit and crochet, do a little bit of hand mending too, but let me see, I think as far as crafts go, that's about it. So quite a few things, but mostly here on the channel I just talk about my knitting and crochet, and then it wasn't until about a couple years ago that I started talking about my pottery and stuff on the channel. I love my headphones. They're like the best brand of headphones, but sometimes that wire gets into my projects and I'm not a happy person. Okay, we're doing a yarn bowl. I also kind of want to make a planter, because I have house plants. Shocker. Fun fact, I love plants. And, since I'm not really doing gardening this year, I figured that I could spoil my house plants. So I have this like leafy vine plant in my basement hallway between my studio and my washroom. And it's getting pretty big, and I feel like over the summer it's going to need to be transplanted, but I don't have another hanging planter to put it in, and Lord knows buying those things, ridiculous. Every time I go to Home Depot now and I see a planter, I'm like, I can make that. It's like typical crafter's attitude, right? Man, I want that to be bigger. Let's see. push that out more, because I think this one was about 4 pounds, a 4-pound ball. So this is definitely very skinny for a 4-pound ball. There we go. And I'm blowing out the bottom of this. What did you say? Okay, I'm too nosy for this. What do we say? All the crafts I do involve yarn. There's nothing wrong with that. Oh my goodness, yeah, that's my thing. I love cats, and at one point I had 11 on accident, and they were menaces to society. So, you know, I didn't have houseplants at that point because I'm like, okay, y'all want to chew on absolutely everything, and yeah, no. Once I actually got space to start building out my yarn stash and whatnot, I was like, there's no way I can keep a cat right now because my studio doesn't have a door to it. It's like we have a finished basement, but it's basically open on both sides. There's like a door to one side and the other side is just open. So there's no way I could protect my yarn from my sweet fur children. So I don't have them right now. Maybe someday when I can, like, I don't know, have a different space or maybe do the renovations to get a different door or something put up. Maybe, but oh my gosh. I can only imagine the mayhem I would come back to. So yeah, no, I've always been an artsy person. I kind of come from a creative type family. My grandma was a seamstress until she retired and went on disability. And my great-grandmother was a singer and she cooked a lot. My mom, she crocheted, but we were all well, me, my grandmother, and my mother, we all crocheted, but I was the only one that really knit, and we were all self-taught. So that was kind of fun. And that's what I did for a while. I think I started crocheting in 2013, and of course loved it. And by 2018, I'm gonna be so real. I was going to community college, and my community college had sister campuses. So I was out at a different campus, not my home campus, and the instruction quality at the time was not what I was accustomed to. It was actually quite garbage tier. And so I was like, you know what I should do in my spare time? That would be fun. Especially since my volunteer hours were kind of, well, not running out, but the program in that location was kind of iffy. So I was like, you know what, I should just start a YouTube channel in my spare time. And I did that, and I never quit. So it's been almost 7 years, or it has been 7 years, and it's going into 8 years in October. So yeah, cyber arts have been my primary love. But I've always wanted to learn how to use a sewing machine. And my grandmother said she would teach me, but she's been going through some serious stuff here lately and, you know, just kind of focusing on that right now. So maybe in the future, she'll be able to, like, sit me down. We'll make the space, sit down, and she can teach me, because that's another thing about being artsy that nobody tells you, is that your house fills up with stuff. And so, not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a homey home, but I have to find a space for that sewing machine, because the room that was once the sewing room, quote unquote, is now the junk room. Which, if she ever hops on my stream or watches the re-recording of this, she's gonna fuss at me. She's like, "You're telling all of my business." But she's a sweet, feisty lady. For the most part, she's sweet. Something like that. Oh my gosh, y'all can't even see. See, this is my level of technical skill. I'm so sorry. At least I'm getting my squats in for today. Oh. I'm good. I am so good. She's gonna be upset about that though. We have these things made out of plaster, and somebody left it on this wheel, and my knee just hit this pedal, so it's now kind of broken. So my bad. This is one of the hazards of being like in a community studio, because not everybody cleans the same. But I should have had the foresight to move that. Ooh, and it was on a bat. The bat is okay, but it's fine. Right? At least it didn't hit me though. That's the good part. But I'm liking this one pretty much, and I'm just gonna trim off just a little bit up here at the top once I do like a final pull, because I think most of my weight for this one is in here and still at the bottom of this. And I wanna make this one kind of a bigger bowl, because it is somewhere around 4 pounds. So I'm gonna try to get that in there. Not trip. That's one thing that I don't want to do, is actually trip on a live stream. The embarrassment would be so real. My hands are dry, so it's dragging. Where is that silly little rib? I don't know. Perhaps I can change the shape of this one a little bit. Because the fun part of working with porcelain is that it can sometimes fall on you. If you push it too much, but that's okay. That's all right. And I forgot about my other bowl up there under the fan, but it's fine. It should be okay. I use quite a bit of water, like not excessive, but when I'm throwing stuff, I don't like my hands to drag at all, because I do certain things. Like I use a sponge, or I'll throw like this against the side of my hand, and that's just more surface area for your pot to drag against, but it makes me feel more comfortable in my throwing, and so I do that. And wherever my needle tool ran away to. There we go. I probably babysit my pots more than I should, but I like each one to be the best I can make it, so. Also, Lindsay, if you're still there, I had an epiphany the other day when I was working on those other yarn bowls, specifically the square one, because that one got smushed a little bit, and the only way I could save it was to make it into a square. But it was probably a year ago now, which is the length of my memory. It was probably a year ago now when you asked me about if I could make skein yarn bowls. And my thought was, when I squished that one, if I could actually mush the bowl and make it oblong and put my guides on the side, I think I could make that work. But I need to try that out. So I'll probably end up doing that today when I wedge another round of clay. But this one's good to go. Just clean my bed. This one's good to go. So, there we go. I don't have to worry about it falling off of there. Now watch it fall. But I don't have to worry about it falling off of there because I haven't wired it off yet. So this one's good to go under the fan. And then 1, 2, I don't know if that one's going to be a yarn bowl or not. Anyway, I know that one is, and I think I have another piece over there that I wedged up, so I'm gonna go put this one away. Okay. I do want to say too, from the poll from the other day, for a hot minute, mugs were beating out yarn bowls, and I was like, well, this should be interesting because I actually don't like making handles. Go figure. But I do like making cups. I collect coffee mugs, and I like the idea of making them, but the handle part for a while was plaguing me. But I did end up making a huge batch of mugs before I even put that poll out. And when it was still going through the motions, I was like, well, it looks like I'm prepared. But then y'all switched up on me, which is totally fine. I just, this one is not great, which is totally fine. So yarn bowls, thankfully, are something that can be produced a little bit quicker than a handle because you only have so many components of a yarn bowl as opposed to having to, make the cup, get the proportions right on that, and pull the handles, which it's mostly the handle process. It's iffy, but anyway, there's going to be a lot of stuff. Eventually, I will do the shop updates. Eventually, because I never did really upload everything or really anything at all from last semester, and they're just sitting in storage right now in my craft studio. I just haven't gotten to them yet. So this one is going to be a pretty big bowl. This one feels like it's like 4.5 pounds. So we're going to see how easily that is to center. And at some point, I want to be able to get my own kiln, because I would love to build a little shed up in my backyard and be able to fire my own pottery. But that is a feat that I am in, that I don't see being accomplished in the near future, So like in the meanwhile, I'll have to take it into the local pottery store and get it fired, which they fire stuff by the pound, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. Okay. Which is an adjustment for basically, paying your tuition and getting stuff fired for free. Girl math. But, yeah. I think that'll be an interesting future venture. I think that's the dream for most people that create art, is to just be able to live off their artistry and whatnot. If anyone new has just joined in, hello. I'm just out here making pottery. If you're subscribed to this channel, you might have seen the community poll might not have. I don't know what YouTube shows people from me now, so I'm making yarn bowls at the moment. There we go. It's going to be pretty good. So I'm going to try to open this one up pretty far. This might end up being like some of those that I showed off at the beginning of this stream. I just remembered I took measurements of that first bowl and I have not used those calipers since. But sometimes it be like that. Don't know why I'm building that up so high. Let's see. Sometimes you have really great days in pottery, and then other days you end up putting a twist in everything you do. But to be honest, I feel like this one has a little bit more potential than that other one did. Inside here is a little dry. It's also covered in slips. Let's try to use this other shape here. Sorry for the sound. It's more bowl-like. Kind of like that. trying to round out the rims of these a little bit more too, because sometimes I like the way glaze breaks over an edge, but sometimes I don't, and it just really thins out if you have sharp corners on these things. So I experienced that a lot with my wood-fired bowls. Something about this feels weighty, and I don't know what it is. What kind of cats do you have? We're gonna call that one good. And let's see, I got 4 so far. I think I'm gonna try to re-wedge that other piece of clay that I goofed up earlier, and maybe dig out another ball of porcelain. So it's also pretty good. It's also pretty heavy. This one might get trimmed too, to be honest. I don't want to push it too much, but yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it is a big bowl. Have you ever put a twist on purpose? No. um, so me and my professor have a very special relationship in that, you know, I make things and I do weird stuff to my work and then he roasts me. So for the most part, I just try to focus on typical techniques, but every now and again I'll go outside the box with something weird. And usually that ends up kind of okay, but never have I purposely twisted it. And I've seen other artists, I forget his name, but there's this Korean artist that I follow on Instagram, and he puts twists in his vases all the time, and they look gorgeous. But that's not something that I've necessarily played with in my own work. At least not yet. We'll give it a few years. Okay. That's my vase. I need to make the neck for this vase. I need to grab more clay. It's also kind of nice just having the studio space to yourself. I'm getting my workout in today. I have to. Oh my God, you have a Maine Coon? I love those. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I feel like they should be just very chill because they're so majestic, but I've heard people say that they're actually very energetic. Is your guy like that? Okay, there's my wire tool. grab another. Actually, no, I'm not. Grab that. Okay. So we are good. It was, oh my gosh. Oh man, that is so cool. I never would have thought that Maine Coon and Russian Blue would actually mingle together. Interesting. But yeah, no, I know they're huge. My grandmother doesn't, she doesn't really like animals too much these days, but she's always been kind of adamant about not having a Maine Coon because they are so massive. Like the grandmother, precious babies. Look at them. She thinks they're scary. One, two, three. I also want to thank y'all for jumping on this random Saturday live stream. I never really plan out my streams. I know last year I was kind of playing around with them, but I don't know, I like them more spontaneous. I keep trying to look at the chat like I can read it from here. Oh my gosh. I can push this down more, maybe I can open it up more. Make a bigger bowl. And sometimes when I make stuff, I try to make it bigger in the wet stage than it really should probably be, because clay shrinks so much when you fire it. And you have to fire it twice, so it goes through a couple different stages of that. Check it out a little bit. So, like earlier in the semester, I did a series of cups that I was planning to do a giveaway on, but by the time they came out the kilns, I was just like, I can't do anything with these. So, you know, lessons learned. Oh my gosh, what was that with my voice? Touch that too much. Cool. Okay. So what I want to try to do with this one, this is going to be probably my one experimental goal for the day. But like I said earlier, I want to kind of play with the idea that skein bolt. So here's my thought with this one, right? Like I said, yarn skeins, maybe. We're gonna try it. Like I said, it's gonna shrink some, but maybe like shorter skeins. I don't know, cause like I think a super saver might be like this, but I imagine you can kind of squish it in there. But once this sets up more, hopefully Monday I can come and try to carve something in on the sides here, and we'll see how that works out. But either that or it's just a really weird dish. All right, now that I have cleaned off everything, I can take these off and read. Stand it up and on it. Really? That's good to know. I do remember Rhonda being one of the like taller walled bowls that I made, but I'm glad to know she's versatile. Let's see. Right now it just jumps on whatever she can. Oh, okay, that's kind of precious, but when you realize how big a Maine Coon is, that can get kind of crazy. I'm glad you love her. I wish that I had a body of work that I could put into the next wood firing because I would try to duplicate that. I feel like Rhonda was put into a gas firing though. She was. But there's a few pieces that I have. One of them just found a new home, but Evangeline, that particular glaze combination comes out so well in the wood firing, and I've not been able to replicate it outside of the one we did a year ago. And I'm just like, they're having another one in June, but I don't work in code 10 type clays at home, so I'm trying to figure that out now. Like, do I want to what do I want to try to participate in that, and if so, where am I going to do the bisque firing, stuff like that, because it'd be really, really pretty to get some more pieces with those colorants on them. But I'm, again, very happy that you're enjoying, Rhonda. I'm tired. But, you know, that's just one of the things. Oh, my teapot is back there. Cool. Anyway, I got a lot of stuff to glaze. At some point or another, I'll get around to it. I'm just kind of like up to here with stuff going on. But, again, I appreciate y'all showing up today because I did not expect to do a live stream. I'm probably going to just like chill for a little bit and get water and then get back to it for a little while. I don't know how long I've been up here, but I've been recording for an hour and a half. So I've been going along with these things. I don't know if I'm going to call it a channel chat or not either. Probably not. But I'm gonna log off for now, and I will see y'all again tomorrow. I don't think I'll have a tutorial up. I have not recorded anything for crochet probably in 2 weeks. It's just been like that, and I feel so bad, but I know I'm probably the only one stressing myself out about that. But I'm just like, I have an upload schedule and I try to adhere to it, and then when I can't adhere to it, I freak myself out. Like, I can help that. But anyway, when I look in my followers. Well, what kind of yarn bowl like fits your style? Do you work with like multiple skeins at a time? Like where you'd require a bigger bowl, or are you like more in the medium market? And some of them can be pricey. Not gonna lie, some of mine are kind of pricey, but I'm like, sometimes when I go in the store and I see like the small ones and they're $40, I'm like, okay, okay, because I like to collect craft room and like artsy stuff. So whether it's like mugs or like you say vases or yarn bowls or whatever, but sometimes it's really hard to collect them. So I get it. I mean, yeah, you're right. You're not wrong about that. I've also done that many times, like going to Joann and just walking through there because my grandma will need something for a project, and I'll walk through that aisle and I'll look at them and I'm like, I can make that, but better. But I think that is again a like crafter's MO, because like it's the same as when you go to Walmart and you see a really cute cardigan and then you see a price on it and you're like, I have the yarn at home. I'm gonna make that myself. Is it like, okay, when you say dragon yarn bowl, do you mean it's like dragon from Shrek, or do you mean it's like D&D dragon? Because if it was like D&D dragon, I think you need it in your life. Some people do some amazing things with their artistry, and I admire it so much. You need that. I am telling you to be impulsive and get that yarn bowl. You need it. You deserve it. And if you like buy it on or around your birthday, then according to crafter girl math, then it was technically free. Oh my goodness. Where are you guys finding these cool yarn bowls? Because the most decorative one I have found locally was one of a sloth, and it was like at Hobby Lobby or something a couple years ago. I mean, I'm sure Rhonda understands. She'll still be there. Oh, that is awful. But it's like that sometimes. I don't know. And I don't, well, see, okay, right? I have those pumpkin yarn bowls too that I have not shown off since last year. And I'm trying to not be that person. Well, it's only appropriate that you do that. As a crafter, you have to join the hoarding alliance. And so, if you don't have a minimum of 25 things that you will never use, then are you really a crafter? You know? I feel that way about my crochet hooks because I have a million of them and I stick to probably three or four. So, and some of them I spent kind of decent money on, and I'm just like, I should use that, but I probably won't. You can just sit there. Well, I mean, like, aren't we all like that? Our yarn stashes are evidence of a problem that we refuse to solve. At least for me, because the way I set up my space after I moved everything over on that side of the basement, I was like, it would be really cool if I had this background, but the thing is, when you make more space, you want to fill that space, and so then it becomes a problem. And so now I have an actual third shelf that nobody sees about. Nobody ever sees, but it's off camera and to the side where I keep all of my like hats and scarves that I've made up. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. And then that one while when I was going through crochet thread, I don't know why I caught on to crochet thread like that, but I have it now and I haven't touched it in months. So that's part of the fun. Okay, let me scroll. Oh, okay, I actually didn't miss anything. Cool. Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, no. See, I've, oh my gosh, at least as far as ceramics goes, I've been dabbling in clay stuff since I want to say 2018, 2019-ish. And from that point, I realized that I'm probably not the person that can like be productive potter. I've tried, I come kind of close sometimes when it comes to mugs, but by and large, most of my pieces are one of a kind. And I think that's okay, and I've learned to accept that. Oh my, you make jewelry and chocolate mold. Okay. I think we're all just dabblers at this point, but it's not a bad thing. It's definitely not a bad thing. It makes us fun people. I'm trying to think. The last time I spun yarn was probably when I finished that first Fresh Peak sweater because I had some of that yarn left over from Wool and the Gang, and I'm like, I am not throwing away these scrap yarns because they were really expensive when I got them, even though I did have a discount. And so I started plying those apart and respinning them into my own yarn, and it's just been sitting on my shelf like a trophy since then. You know what? I've noticed that. I have noticed that so much. And every now and again, I'll hear these videos about or see these videos about people who have ADHD and they usually bounce around hobbies a lot. And I'm just like, you're not going to acknowledge that. Ooh, 3D printed? What colors? Because I imagine those are kind of funky color. Nice. Is it like holographic? Because I think I've seen one that was kind of like that. Yeah, I have dabbled in woodwork and I gotta hand it to people that do woodwork on a regular basis. It's not, it's intimidating, but and my hands are small. So the little palm sized bowls for 25 bucks, really, I can't rationalize it when I walk in there. Was it, okay. Yeah, I have a couple of drop spindles. So one of them is like a definite beginner's thing. When I took fibers a couple years ago, it was like a little starter plastic thingy. Oh, that finally broke. Anyway, and so that's the one that my green yarn is in. But then I bought one that's wood. It's like pine, I think, and don't know what to do with it. But it's also full of yarn wherever it is. But I one day I want to get an actual spinning wheel to spin my fibers on. And the only thing that stopped me from actually doing it earlier on was the like price on it. Because I'm like, okay, am I really about to drop probably $600 or more on a hobby that I might not engage in regularly? Probably shouldn't do that. But I like the ones that have the single pedal because I can coordinate that better. I don't know if you guys picked up on it. I'm a little clumsy, so less pedals involved, the better. The one that I tried to learn on was a double treadle thing, and I could not I could not do both feet and focus on like the drafting and stuff while it was pulling the yarn. I could not do it for the life of me. It was ridiculous. Oh, but up there, well, up there are some of the things. These, I actually didn't realize this one was mine until today. I was like, that glaze looks oddly like not something I would do, but familiar at the same time. So I picked it up and it had my signature on it. So these things were soda fired, and they came out a lot smaller than I wanted them to. Like, I like the results on them. You can see some of the soda chemicals on the bottom of this one because it got hit with the ash, but textured bottom. And this is the inside of it. But it's like, look at it. It's like a little bourbon glass or something. And most of them turned out, they shrunk like that. But usually stuff up there is either ready to go into the firing or it's failed attempts at stuff. But I don't know what I was about to say. There, last year I made this teapot, and I don't know why I thought a leaf was a good idea. Thank you. I don't know why I thought the leaf teapot was a good idea last year, but I did, and that one, it has its issues. At least I think so proportionately. It looks a little weird, but this one, which is why it's not glazed, but this one was the one I did this year, and I like this a lot better. Yes, it leans on purpose, but I felt like that just kind of added to the organic nature of it. So look at me being all artsy, and then the lid fits perfectly on there. So gotta figure out how I'm gonna fire that one off whenever, I guess coming soon in the next couple of weeks. Like diamond and gold crochet hooks, but I know it won't be. I mean, okay, so when you say like diamond and gold, do you mean like those gemstones that you can get from the craft store and then like a gold resin? I used to do resin art too a lot, but as you can imagine, it gets kind of pricey doing that. But like, how would you go about that? Would it be like a sparkly glitter thing, like what's that company, Furls or whatever? How they do their glitter things? You can never have enough crochet hooks, so I will always encourage. Ooh, gold plated would be fun. Oh, so you mean like an actual metal? That could be interesting. Have y'all ever tried welding though? It's an experience. I guess too, yeah, it does melt at a lower temperature. That'd be interesting to work out. Yeah, welding, it's an experience. You do run the risk of possibly getting sparks on you. I know one girl did. See, it's not difficult, but it's not. I think a lot of my hang up with welding is just the sparks flying at me. Now, do I like to incorporate fire in my other artwork? Yes, but do I want it coming towards me? No. And so it's a little intimidating in that sense. But of course, guys will like to show off with welding. My current teacher, he went and got like a certification a summer or two ago, and like just does his thing. And I'm like, okay, okay, bro, we know you're a professional. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I know this one girl. She She kind of laughs about it now, but she was like, she had a bunch of burn marks all over when she did her welding project because they were just kind of coming at her. Like, I am so glad I took welding at a different place and don't have to deal with it anymore. It's like part of a sculpture class or something. I think it's really cool to be able to like build stuff, which is kind of why I'm glad my my art school experience went the way it did because I got to learn how to build stuff from basically garage bros that build stuff in their garages. So it was like my graphic design teacher at this place, he builds wood furniture and whatnots. And this semester I was taking a basically shop class to learn how to build frames and stretcher bars and stuff, which I know I was talking to you, Lindsay, the other day about. He builds some really nice stuff and can get very intricate, but he's not like these guys are not snooty like you would think artists would be, and I can really appreciate that about them. Oh man, yeah, no. No, 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 no. I rode on the back of a motorcycle one time and I was like, you know what? I can see why you adrenaline junkies like it, but it could not be me. I'd be too afraid to fall off of it. Ooh. Is it like a garden sculpture thing? Because that could be really cool. I know this guy I'm classmates with. He does like public installations and stuff. He just did a show here maybe a month ago. Forget exactly where, but he's pretty good at what he does too. And sometimes it's just funny watching them put stuff together because they're like, this is a great idea that's probably not a great idea. Oh, cool. Imagine Imagine like the metalwork garden gnomes, like steampunk garden gnomes. Those would be really cool. That is a valid concern. No, it's like I like to keep all of my digits intact. I will say that again, I've always been kind of klutzy. So back in 2019 when I was at community college, I was in a sculpture class and I was trying to graduate and I don't know what I was doing, but I had a piece of like rebar like that you put in concrete and stuff, and somehow it tilted towards my eye. And so I had the equivalent of a black eye for about a month. And then it wasn't until I didn't have insurance then, so I didn't go to the doctor for it. I just kind of let it be because it'd be like that. And my vision was fine. I could see out of it perfectly fine by then. But then after all the COVID stuff hit and whatnots, and I was basically in a screen for 12 hours a day, I was like, oh, maybe my eyeballs don't like that so much. And I went to get the glasses that I wear now. And the doctor was like, there's a little scar back there. And I'm like, I know exactly where that's from, sir. And I told him, and he just kind of looked at me like, yeah, it was wild. I had to wear sunglasses for weeks. But just the misadventures. There was also the time I knocked my painting into my work lamp that fell into the basement sink, and promptly after that, I moved my work desk because I'm like, this is a hazard. I know. And then with this, you can kind of see it now. This front tooth that I fell and broke 2 years ago. Well, it's still not fixed, so. But I do have an appointment, so I'm excited about that. They're gonna look at it and make sure they can do the root canal on it later on in May, so I can go do that. But I have to come out of pocket for that, unfortunately. And I'm like, why? When it's impeding my speech and the way I eat, I don't understand that. But a win is a win. So yeah, I am so excited about that because I kind of miss biting into things and not worrying about pushing it out in my sleep, or other like dentists bumping against it. Because when I went and got a fill in, I think that was March. No, it was February. When I got a fill in, the student doctor pressed against this front tooth and it pushed like back,
And it was not, I was so freaked out because I'm like, oh my God, I don't have the money right now to fix this. But I was able to laugh about it a little bit. At some point, you have, like, sometimes about certain things, you have to laugh so you don't cry. That was one of those moments. Yeah. Do you have compression gloves? Because I've heard those really help with um, like the circulation and kind of relieving tension in your hands. Well, see, that's the thing though. If it would have broken, that just would have been on me because you have to sign like a consent to treat form. I spaced out. I'm sorry. You have to sign a consent to treat form, which basically says, oh, any extra injuries to the jaw or other teeth or whatever, we're not liable for. And I'm just like, y'all know this is BS. But yeah, no, compression gloves are pretty good. And I just got a pair from Goucher when I did was it the last channel chat I did? I showed them off because she sent me a little care package, and I have no idea how long it was sitting in my PO box, but they felt pretty good on my hands. And she sent me a small, and my hands I would say are kind of a medium, but the small one actually fit me nicely. So I don't know, they're breathable and comfortable and whatnots. But I think they also make ones with like copper. Ooh, yeah. Kind of sucks when you like strain your forearm because that's what I'm dealing with right now with this left shoulder. Like it started in the shoulder, but like now it's like somewhere between the shoulder and my forearm, and it sucks. Like it almost went away yesterday, and I've been like sleeping on a hot water bottle to kind of relieve that. And I woke up this morning like, oh God, why? Because it was just back. But that can't be fun because it's like you're doing this all day with crochet or knitting, so you feel that tension in your arm and it sucks. The purple ones. The purple ones. Yeah, they were actually kind of pink. I was trying to figure out what you meant by the purple ones. Yeah, no, they were actually kind of pink. My lighting, funny enough, right? Before I posted that channel chat was actually recorded before I did a series of my community posts. And then I got an email basically roasting all of my videos, and I was like, oh, okay. So apparently my lighting sucks and I have no style, but yeah, pinky purple, but they feel nice on the hands. And so I actually wore them for a while once I got off camera, and I was like, huh, should do a video on these, or at least I wrote a blog post or something about it. I haven't put it out yet, but it will be out eventually at some point. Just kind of stockpiling stuff that I want to put out to be helpful and whatnot on the blog posts and whatever's. Let me see. Oh, okay, cool. But yeah, it's so weird. It does not feel like a Saturday. And then I'm pretty sure the sun just kind of went in. I don't know. I hope it doesn't rain. You know what? I've seen stuff like that. Is it so? It's super stressful to do it like that because I thought it was kind of cool to be honest. I still feel like it's Friday, and so I know I have tomorrow to chill out. Kind of. I got one last paper to write before I graduate, and I'm excited about that. Not the paper, but actually getting out of here. Um, and I'm like, okay, I have to remember tomorrow is not Saturday, but Sunday, and then I have to go out Monday. But it's such is life, right? And I kind of want to do these live streams more. Thank you. Um, I kind of want to do these more, but every time I say that, I end up going off into the void for a while. But I think, like, at least in my home studio, I think it would be fun to do them more often because then I get to kind of just vibe with you guys. I don't know. It's just weird because I can never plan them properly. I think it's the artist spirit in me that just likes to be spontaneous about it, but I don't know. I also want people to be like more familiar with the channel chats because I feel like people will see the channel chat thumbnails and they're like, "Oh, this has nothing to do with this content." I don't know. I feel like a lot more of my audience likes podcasts than um, they tend to encounter my videos. I don't know. But just like little stuff I want to test out, but I haven't figured out quite how I want to do them yet. But I have forever, I suppose. I know after the summer, maybe after the fall, whenever I come back from my extended vacation, I know I want to do podcast formatted videos pretty frequently. So we'll see about that. Hopefully by then I'll have a story to tell. Because sometimes channel chats go really far and in between because I have nothing to talk about. And then by the time I do have something to talk about, then I get going and I go on a tangent and then it ends up being over an hour. Which some people don't mind, but other people are like, cut it up. I try. All these notifications. So many. Oh, cool. A new site member. Yeah. Or if it's something that I feel like I know a decent amount about, I'll start on one topic that I think might be helpful or insightful or something, and then I'll go down the rabbit hole of things, and then eventually it spirals into something else. Like I think one of the last live streams I did over last summer, I started on yarn topics, and then we all ended up on video games, which was funny. But that just makes us fun people, you know? To be able to bounce around and talk about so many different things. It's fine. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And then like regional pronunciation too. So we're like how people from my city, they can't say iron, Aaron, and earn. And it all sounds like Aaron or whatever when we're here. And it's kind of funny once it's pointed out because then you actually start noticing it more. Yeah, see, that would be a tongue twister in my city. It would sound like everybody saying the same word that whole sentence. I I can't really talk because I feel like I might actually have that as well, but I've never tried it. I actually haven't played The Sims in a while. I got sucked into Baldur's Gate 3, and that's been a wild adventure. Yeah, that's it exactly. That is it exactly. And it's strictly my city that does that. Everywhere else here in Missouri, they're just I don't know, they say wash with an R, so it's like wash. And I know like some older people do it, but I've also encountered younger people that do it and I find it to be hilarious. Yeah, D&D the video game. I never once thought I'd be a D&D nerd, and I saw some of the gameplay. I actually like had I was listening to a music video cover and it displayed clips from the game with Astarion. And I was like, "Oh my god, I need that game strictly for Astarion." And I got the game and I actually interact with Gale the first playthrough. And my second playthrough, I am still interacting with Gale. And so I'm just like, oh my gosh, I switched out my computer and everything just to get that game, and I can only vibe with Gale. What is wrong with me? So you know, I'm struggling every time. But I like the makeup of my crew every time. And it's usually Astarion, Gale, and Shadowheart. I'm usually a barbarian class. And it's just very OP. So it's like it looks like most of my playthroughs now I'm just gonna be fighting for my life between those two. But yeah, that's usually what I end up doing these days to decompress and unwind more so than The Sims. I haven't played that in quite a bit. Well, I mean, like some games are a mood, you know, and you have to like some people are mood readers. Some games are just a mood. You just have to play them when they feel like it. But I feel bad because since I got that video game, I have not picked up a book. Which I mean, like, I guess that's not technically true. I've picked them up and put them on my shelf, but then I go play my video game. Palia? Palia. I haven't heard of that one. I almost thought that said Pal World. Okay. Harvest Moon. How is Harvest Moon? I've heard of it, but I've never played it. Apparently, 2 Stardew Valley just came out with a bunch of updates that people were like raving over. The older ones. Okay. I might add that to my Steam list because I don't have many games actually on that list. I think I really like the like open world format of gaming. You know, being able to go around and sow chaos wherever I go. So Baldur's Gate really fit into that, but I've played other like MMO RPGs like Vindictus. For a while, I was playing Dirty Bomb, which I quite enjoyed. Uh, there's a long list of games on my Steam list, but Polyet. Okay, okay. I might try that out. Arc Age. I forgot about it, but I used to play that too, and that was very open world. But I have not played that game probably since 2019. But it's just resting on my computer, and it's changed like 2 or 3 different companies since then, which is crazy. Palia. Okay. Oh, fun. So it's like you're building up your own like village community thing. Arc. I don't think I've heard of that one. To be fair, I do kind of live under a rock, so like oh, what do you prefer to play? I know you said you bounce around, but what do you prefer to play? Okay. What did they mess up? How do you mess up a dinosaur game? Change the colors in the test tubes. I've seen that one. No, I've seen the advertisements for that one, and I sit there and I stare at it like a cat. But I've never actually played that one. I know exactly what you're talking about. Like almost every time I go on Instagram now, they're advertising it to me, which has to do amazing things for your focus too. Ah, that sucks. I hate when studios do that. Like, well, I don't have a lot of references, but like right now, I know the Sims community has been on and off just raging at the developers because the Sims 4 is basically in the toilet. Man, that sucks. It's like now, we almost wish that more studios would be like Larian because they're actually doing stuff that the players are asking for and listening to their player base, you know, which has been a big discussion. Mm. Oh, boo. So they decreased the mobility you had in the game, basically. Yeah, no, that would have killed it for me. I like to be able to sandbox it, so. Ooh. Oh no. That's a drastic cut. Seems like it was almost unnecessary, too. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna end this live here. My phone battery is gonna go out fairly soon, so I gotta go find my charger and whatnot. But thanks for hanging out with me, y'all, and I don't know when I'll do another channel chat or another live stream, but I will be floating around somewhere in the space. Thanks for joining me on this Saturday. I'll see y'all later. You too.